Hey you guys, welcome back to our channel. It is Monday, April 8, and we are back with another crypto market update. Okay, so here we are on the Bitcoin chart and we're zoomed out to the daily time frame. And this is that all-time high here that we have on Bitcoin, still at 73.8K. And Cassie and I have been tracking the subwaves for this wave 4 retracement. And so before the weekend, during our last update, we had mentioned about this possible support here down at the bottom of the triangle. And we got some heavy price action over the weekend and we came up and tested the top of our triangle right here. And this morning it did break out above that triangle, and you can see the RSI did break up above its MA as well. And so right now the price is currently sitting exactly at that last high here that we had for wave B. So this is a very critical moment for Bitcoin. Technically we're still in wave 4 because we have not made a new high above this high over here. So we're still going to be tracking the subwaves as if this is still our retracement for wave 4. And remember, these are daily candles, and so we still have several hours before the close of this candle, and so a lot can happen within these hours. For example, the RSI can come back down below this MA and keep it as resistance because we still have 8 more hours of price action during this candle here. And so Cassie's going to take you into the subwaves and show you what we're expecting.
So I have Bitcoin pulled up here on the 1 hour just to get zoomed in here a little bit. As Tara mentioned, we're still tracking this as a subwave 4 unless we come up and make a new high. So what I'm thinking short term is, you can see, just as Tara mentioned, we have that breakout of the triangle and we need to come down and test that as support. So you can see the price is probably going to have to come back down to that 70,000 area, which is the breakout of that triangle. So short term, I think that's what's happening. And we're getting clues on the RSI that we're going to see that as well. So you can see we had a breakout and we had a trend line, strong trend line we were following, but now we have this MA that we're playing with here. It's still about 30 minutes where we can get short-term support, small little bounce, and really play with the MA and trend line here. But I do think the price is going to come down and test this as support. So we'll see what happens there. You can see as we zoom in, this new high that we made did make a new high on the RSI. So after some support, I think we should expect either a local new high, maybe a double top, but that's kind of in the next few days what we're looking at. I think short term, we're going to come down and test this breakout here. So I think that's what's next on Bitcoin, and we can't really decide whether it's on that new trend yet or if it's still going to continue in this correction. But the next several hours, I think we'll be testing this here. So should we get over to Ethereum then, Tar?
Okay, so here we are on Ethereum, and this is again the daily time frame, and so we're zoomed out quite a bit here. In our last update, I showed you how this was most likely to be our wave 3, and we're currently tracking the subwaves of wave 4. And so the first thing that I want to mention on this chart is that this retracement here for wave 4 has already targeted the 382 retracement level, which is typically the target for the full wave 4. And so Ethereum came down and touched that level without making any subwaves. And so a lot of times when it does come down and reaches that level without making any waves, we will start to form a complex correction. And so after this wave coming down here, we came up, and this was most likely to be our wave B up here at this level. So with this new development here over the weekend, we're coming back up and testing that exact same resistance level that it did when it was in wave B. And so technically, guys, this is still considered to be wave 4. And so I do want to mention that the RSI did break up above its MA. We need a little bit more development. We need some more time to confirm if this is still going to come down for wave C or if we're going to break out into a new trend. And so this is that wave B that I just mentioned, how we just came up and we're still testing that exact same level here. So it still is a little undetermined if we're in wave B or starting wave C, or if we're on a whole new trend entirely. And so this is what we're going to be tracking for the rest of the day, especially keeping an eye on the candle close.
So let me get zoomed in and give us a short-term look at what we can expect. Okay, I have my Ethereum 1 hour chart pulled up. We're kind of zoomed in here. Tara has the larger ABC mapped, and you can see we're still stuck within this B wave highs and lows, and we haven't made a new high past our previous B wave top. You can see though that on the 1 hour, this previous high did make a small bearish divergence on the R side, and it is reaching up to pretty significant levels. I'll put those resistance in here in just a second, but this could still be our B top here, just like Tara said. So unless we get a clear breakout from here, we still need to consider this our subwave B. So I'm going to show you how to put in the resistance levels if it does start to come up, the prices that you can expect. So we're just looking at the bottom of A here and the last high that it had. So we're looking at these resistance levels here. You can see that we're right between a 0.5 and a 0.618 retrace. So if this does come up to a new high, this 3,700 would be a significant area of resistance. Following along kind of with what Bitcoin's doing, it's possible that we come down to 35.7 for possible support before coming back up. And you can see we are really far away on the RSI. So we do need to come down a little bit for support. We're way above the MA and the trend. So I do think that we're going to have some short-term support here probably at this 0.5, and then maybe come up for just a slightly new high and confirming that bearish divergence, but we really won't know until we get there at that price. Like Tara said, if we do start to break up with strength, this really could start a new trend if we really start to see strength up here. But it's looking like this is overall a correction B wave, and we're going to find some short-term resistance and probably head down below A eventually. So let's track as it comes back down for a test between these two support and resistance levels here. Yeah. So I think that's what we're seeing on Ethereum short term. Should we go over to XRP?
Yep, let's do it. Go ahead and share your XRP chart first because we want to see where it is at that top of that triangle.
Okay, so this is XRP 1 hour. I'm just really zoomed in here. You can see that we have a little bit of action on this previous resistance level. This was that news we got on the stable coin, which it came up and hit that resistance level, came back down to the 618 like we talked about for some short-term support through the weekend, and it did have that small bounce like we talked about. It is now looking like it's probably going to test the top of that trend line, and you can see here, look how interesting this RSI is. It did break a little bit out of the trend, and it's looking like it'll probably come up to test the top of that trend line, like I said. So test the top of that trend line. It's probably going to play with this for a little bit. I'm not expecting anything significant, but we do need to watch it breaking out of this triangle and flipping to support. So start building support on top instead of the resistance that we're seeing over here. So that would be a change of our plans if it starts to break this resistance and start to build support on top. But right now, I think we'll probably see resistance locally following along with Bitcoin and Ethereum.